What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's the big dog named Austin, back at you again, celebrating the Pacers winning a playoff series for the first time in 10 years. The last time the Indiana Pacers won a playoff series, pretty sure I was in high school. Pretty sure I was just graduating high school. I remember going to the Miami Heat playoff series. That was my junior year. It's so hard to remember. I remember going to some Miami Heat games. We ultimately lost that series. The last time the Indiana Pacers won a series was back in 2013, 2014 when they beat the Washington Wizards to advance to play the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. They ended up losing that series, I think in 7 games. It's been so long. Finally, the Pacers have won a series. They've made the playoffs, won a series. This young and upcoming team without Benedict Mathurin. I would love to see what this team is doing with Benedict Mathurin. Giannis missed the entire series. Okay, there was speculation he might come back. He missed the entire series. Now, would this series have been different with Giannis in it? Probably. Let's be honest. But the Indiana Pacers did go 4-1 against the Milwaukee Bucks in the regular season. For what it's worth. And then they fired Adrian Griffin. And then they hired Doc Rivers. And it all fell apart. I think you could point to multiple things with the Milwaukee Bucks that went wrong. Like I just mentioned, they fired their coach when they were 30-13. You could argue they fired their coach because of what happened with the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers beat them 4 out of 5 times. And then you had some silly ball gate in the season where Giannis scored 64 points, 32 shots from the free throw line, and then a rookie on the Pacers. I'm sorry that I don't remember his name. Scored his first bucket. He grabbed the ball, not even thinking. And yet you would have thought that this dude had punched Giannis' mom in the face or something. How the way Giannis took off after this dude and to get this ball. Okay, you can have the game ball, Giannis. We'll have the playoff victory. Sorry that you couldn't play in this series. Okay, I would have actually loved for the Bucks to have been full strength because I would love to see where the Pacers stack up against the best. Coming into this season, the Bucks were, I think, the top of the list of favorites to win the entire thing, to win the NBA Finals. The addition of Damian Lillard with Giannis. You can say what you want to say about Lillard. He got his. He missed 2 games in the 6-game series. Lillard was a little hobbled, but he scored 35 points in that first half of that first game. He went off. Now the thing that kind of surprised me is the first half of that game 1 was an absolute embarrassment for the Pacers. I think that was a wake-up call. They needed that. I feel like the nerves were a little higher than normal coming into the playoffs. But they got down a little bit. They didn't do great. Or they didn't do bad, in the second half. Ended up losing 109-94. Lost by, double-digit points. Lillard had 35 in the first half, though. Didn't have a single bucket, a single point in the second half. So to me, I'm like, okay, game 2, there's nothing better than a game 1 to game 2 adjustment in the NBA playoffs, right? That showed to be true. 125-108 in the next game. Lillard still got his, though. 34 points. Pascal Siakam, he had an excellent first 2 games to start this series. He had 36 points and 13 rebounds in game 1, 37 points and 11 rebounds in game 2. Got a win in game 2 that was on the road at Milwaukee, and at this point, the Indiana Pacers took control of this series, winning the next 2 at home in game 3 and 4. Before we get into the details of game 3 and 4, I want to briefly say I tried to watch game 3. Okay, I tried to watch it on NBA TV. It was blacked out in my market. Of course, I could have gotten Bally. Bally's $20 a month. I haven't had Bally all season long. It's just frustrating. Why does it need to be blacked out on NBA TV? Anyway, that's just a small rant. Pacers ended up taking the Bucks to overtime in their first playoff game in Indianapolis since 2018 when Victor Oladipo was here, when we played the Cleveland Cavaliers. First playoff game in Indianapolis, and it did not disappoint. A thriller going into overtime. The Pacers got that done, 121-118. But Chris Middleton, I have, out of everybody on the Milwaukee Bucks, Chris Middleton is probably my favorite player on the Milwaukee Bucks. I love the way he plays. He had 42 points in Game 3, and it was such a good game. Such a good game on both sides. Pacers ended up getting it done. Game 4, Miles Turner had 29 points. Excuse me, before I get to Game 4. Miles Turner had 29 points for the Indiana Pacers. He led the way. Then he had 29 points in Game 4, hitting 7 3-pointers, a career high for Miles Turner, to help the Pacers win 126-113 to take a commanding 3-1 lead over the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, early in this game, they got a little chippy, okay? Bobby Portis ended up getting tossed because he had a push and a slap. He got tossed, gone 4 minutes into the game. It was really quick. It was just like that. And I think that completely shifted the entire Game 4, the way it felt, because Bobby Portis, he had himself a solid series. I know why Milwaukee likes Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis is the kind of guy that if he's on your team, you probably love him. If he's not on your team, you probably hate him. Okay? And he got Bobby Sucks' chance in Indianapolis. I was there at Game 6. I heard him. I was a part of him. It's all fun. Okay? The dude had a solid series. If we're being completely honest, he had a solid series. And him getting tossed in Game 4, 4 minutes into the game, was absolutely huge for that game. But like I said, Miles Turner had 29 points. Brook Lopez was also pretty solid. He had 27 points in that Game 4 loss for the Milwaukee Bucks. No Damian Lillard. Okay, Damian Lillard didn't play in Game 4, and Damian Lillard didn't play in Game 5. Now, Game 5 was where you were thinking, okay, this is where the Pacers put the Bucks away. No Damian Lillard, no Giannis. Chris Middleton, I think, was shaken up a little bit. He ended up having 29 points, along with Bobby Portis, who had 29 points, and they led the way to a Bucks victory, 115-92 in Game 5. I'll tell you what. Around Indianapolis, the media was saying you got to put them away in Game 5, and okay, so they won, and I could sense a lot of confidence with the Bucks fan base, and a lot of little hesitation with the Pacers fan base, because the Bucks had outplayed us without Giannis, without Lillard, and with a hobbled Middleton. So it was kind of like, okay. So when the Game 6 came around, first quarter, first few minutes, the Bucks, they were leading by about 7 points. They were getting buckets. The Pacers, they were struggling to score, and then finally things started getting going. The Pacers early turned to guys like TJ McConnell and Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin had 21 points. TJ McConnell had 20 points. He was 7 for 9 from the field. And the shots that TJ McConnell was making were out of this world. Like, he was like co-players of the game, Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell. I mean, who do you give it to? You could argue that, Obi Toppin had some massive shots too. I mean, this team played really well in Game 6 when it mattered the most. And Miles Turner, he only had 5 points. He struggled, I'm not going to lie. But, other guys picked it up. And that's what you need. Also, something else to point out, in Game 1, the Pacers had an 11-man rotation. In Game 2, 3, and 4, they had an 8-man rotation. And in Game 5, they went back to an 11-man rotation. So, it's obviously you need to play your starters. You need to play your best guys. There's a couple guys that are probably not going to see the court. McDermott going forward. Isaiah Jackson might not see the court much. You did have the opportunity to empty out your bench in Game 6 when you had that big lead. That game was dominant from pretty much the middle of the first quarter to the end. The Pacers dominated that game. It was awesome. But I'm happy that the Pacers got a series victory. This is huge for this young and up-and-coming team. Now they take on the New York Knicks, who also won their series in 6 games. So both of these teams, look, the nation's picking the Knicks. Okay, but I'm gonna get into that in another video. I'm gonna celebrate this series. The Pacers and the Knicks start on Monday. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. So it's in 2 days, right? But I'm gonna celebrate this series win over the Milwaukee Bucks. The Pacers beat the Bucks in 6. That's it, man. I'm excited. This is great to have basketball, the Indiana Pacer basketball going on in the month of May, like early May, and we're gonna have, you know, probably a long series with the Knicks. So this is a lot of fun, and then you go into the race. So this is a happening time in Indiana, in Indianapolis. So, you know, if you're around this area, let's have some fun. Let's party. Spring is, you know, finally we're getting to the 80-degree weather. No really cold weather anymore. You know, the race is upcoming. As I just said, the Pacers are playing. The NFL draft just happened. We're going to get the schedule release here soon. The month of May is packed. And then you get to June and July, and you're just like, shit. Well, until then, let's have fun in the month of May. I am the big dog named Austin. I hope everybody has a great day. Go Pacers.